Her name was Sandra. She was 50 years old. And she weighed 600 pounds. But the weight was never really about food. It was about everything else. Sandra grew up in a small town in Georgia. She was bright, ambitious, and full of plans. At 22 she got married. At 25 she had a son named Daniel. At 30 she had a career she was proud of, a supervisor position at a logistics company where she had worked for 8 years. Life felt solid. Life felt real. And then, in the span of 18 months, it all fell apart. Her husband left. No argument. No warning. Just a note on the kitchen counter and an empty closet. 3 months later, her company downsized. Her position, eliminated. After 8 years, a cardboard box and a handshake. She tried to hold herself together. She applied for jobs. She smiled at her son. She told herself it was temporary. But at night, alone in a quiet house, Sandra ate. Not because she was hungry. But because it was the only moment of the day that felt like relief. Month after month. Year after year. By the time Sandra was 40, she had crossed 300 pounds. By 45, 450. By her 50th birthday, 600. 600 pounds. 50 years old. And a body that was beginning to send signals she could no longer ignore. The pain in her knees had become constant. Not occasional. Constant. Every step felt like walking on broken glass. Her blood pressure had reached dangerous levels. Her doctor used the word crisis. Not concern. Crisis. She had developed type 2 diabetes. Her blood sugar levels were so unstable that she kept a glucose monitor on her bedside table and checked it 3 times a night. Her ankles swelled so severely by evening that she could not fit them into any shoe she owned. She had stopped wearing shoes entirely. She wore slippers, the only thing her feet could tolerate. And then came the day at work that Sandra still cannot talk about without her voice going quiet. She had found a new job. A small administrative role at a local office. She was grateful for it. She showed up early. She worked hard. She said good morning to everyone. But one afternoon she heard 2 colleagues talking in the hallway outside her office door. They did not know she could hear them. One of them said, "Why did they even hire her? She can barely fit through the doorway." The other one laughed. Sandra sat at her desk and did not move for a very long time. She stared at her computer screen. She did not cry. She had gone somewhere past crying. She drove home that evening. She sat in her car in the driveway for 40 minutes. She could not make herself go inside. And then her phone rang. It was Daniel. Her son. 25 years old, living 2 states away. He said, "Mom. I booked a flight. I am coming this weekend. I need to see you." She asked him why. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because I am scared, Mom. I am really scared." Sandra looked at herself in the rearview mirror for the first time in a long time. She did not look away. That weekend, Daniel came. He did not lecture her. He did not bring pamphlets or diet plans. He just sat beside her on the couch, put his head on her shoulder the way he used to when he was 7 years old, and said, "I am not ready to lose you. I am just not ready." Sandra put her arm around her son. And something that had been locked for a very long time, opened. The next morning Sandra called her doctor. Not to complain. Not to ask for a prescription. She called and said, "I need a plan. A real one. Tell me where to start." The doctor was honest with her. There would be no dramatic first week. No transformation montage. Her body had been under extreme stress for years. The starting point had to be almost embarrassingly small. Week 1. Sandra moved her feet in circles while sitting in her chair. That was the exercise. Ankle rotations. Twice a day. 10 repetitions each. She also stopped buying the foods that had become her nighttime ritual. Not all at once. One item at a time. The first week, no more late-night chips. The second week, no more sugary drinks. Slow. Deliberate. At the end of month 1, Sandra had lost 11 pounds. 11 pounds on a 600-pound body is nearly invisible to anyone watching. But Sandra felt it. Not in how she looked. In how she slept. For the first time in 2 years she slept through the night without waking up in pain. Month 2, she graduated from ankle rotations to seated leg raises. Her physical therapist came to her home twice a week. The sessions were 30 minutes long and left Sandra exhausted. She did them anyway. Month 3, 31 pounds total lost. Her blood pressure medication was reduced for the first time in 4 years. Her doctor used a different word this time. Progress. Month 6, Sandra walked to the end of her driveway and back. 60 feet. She used a walker. It took her 4 minutes. When she reached her front door she sat down on the porch step and breathed hard for a long time. Then she looked up at the sky and laughed. Just laughed. By herself. On her porch step. Because 60 feet felt like 60 miles. And she had done it. Month 9, she no longer needed the walker for short distances inside her house. She held the wall sometimes. But she was walking. Her diabetes markers had improved significantly. Her doctor reduced her insulin dosage. The glucose monitor on her bedside table stayed quiet most nights now. Month 12, Sandra had lost 94 pounds. She weighed 506 pounds. She was not finished. She will tell you herself, she was nowhere near finished. But she fit into a shoe again. A real shoe. Not a slipper. She bought herself a pair of plain white sneakers. Size 11 wide. She sat on her bed and laced them up herself and sat there for a while just looking at them on her feet. Daniel called that evening. She told him about the shoes. He laughed so hard he had to put the phone down. She is still going. Every week. Every month. One small decision at a time. The divorce did not break her. The job did not break her. The hallway comment did not break her. The 600 pounds did not break her. Because Sandra had learned something that took her 50 years and 600 pounds to understand. The body follows the mind. Always. Without exception. And her mind, her stubborn, surviving, refusing to quit mind, had decided it was not done yet. Not even close. If you are carrying something heavy right now, and I do not mean weight, I mean the thing you have been carrying quietly, alone, for longer than anyone knows, Sandra wants you to hear this. You do not need a dramatic moment. You do not need a perfect plan. You just need one phone call. One honest conversation. One morning where you decide, today I start. Even if starting means ankle rotations in a chair. Start there. Just start there.